The courtroom was colder than usual, not because of the AC, because of what was about to be said. Judge Judy entered. Her black robe brushed the edge of her bench as she sat. Her eyes scanned the room. To her left, Richard Whitmore, mid-40s, white, wealthy, power dripping from his cufflinks. To her right, Lena Brooks, 27, black, housemaid, dressed in a faded blouse, hands trembling, jaw tight. In the front row, a 5-year-old boy, skin pale, eyes blue, hair the color of sand. Judge Judy adjusted her glasses and tapped her desk. Mr. Whitmore, you are petitioning for full custody of the child. He rose slowly, calm, confident. Yes, Your Honor. I am the child's biological father. I can provide a stable, affluent, and nurturing environment that his current situation lacks. And the mother, she was a former employee, Your Honor. A housemaid who at the time acted against my wishes. She kept the child despite clear discussions. Lena's hand curled into a fist. Judge Judy turned. Miss Brooks, is that accurate? Lena stood, her voice quiet. He offered me money to abort. I said no. He told me if I kept it, I was on my own. A low gasp floated from the back of the courtroom. Whitmore shook his head, laughing under his breath. That's a twist of the facts, Your Honor. Judge Judy cut him off. Mr. Whitmore, you will remain silent until prompted. Lena continued. I left. I raised my son alone. And now, after 5 years of silence, he shows up with lawyers and paperwork and wants to take my child. Judge Judy leaned forward. This child, Malik, he is biologically yours. Mr. Whitmore. He nodded. We conducted a private paternity test. He is my son, and the child's racial identity is clear. He appears white. Yes, Your Honor. Judy turned to Lena. Miss Brooks, when your child was born with white skin, did you ever doubt his parentage? Lena swallowed. Number, I knew exactly whose he was. Judy raised one brow. And yet you never listed Mr. Whitmore on the birth certificate. Lena's voice cracked. Because he made it clear he didn't want a child. And I wasn't going to beg a man to be a father. Silence. You could hear paper breathing. Judge Judy inhaled deeply. Let me get this straight. A white billionaire impregnated a young black housemaid, paid her to disappear, and now half a decade later seeks full custody of the white child she raised alone. No one moved. Judy turned back to Whitmore. What changed? Whitmore shrugged. I found out she'd kept the child, that she was raising him in poverty. I want to correct that. Give him what I couldn't before. What, you wouldn't, Mr. Whitmore? He blinked. Excuse me. Judy's voice cut sharper. You had your chance to step up. Instead, you paid her off, denied your name, and now you're here asking for a gold star. The audience murmured. Whitmore's attorney leaned in, whispered something. Judge Judy looked directly at Malik. The boy squirmed in his seat. She turned back. Tell me something, Mr. Whitmore. If this child didn't look like you, if he bore even one trace of the mother's skin, would you still be here? His lips parted, then sealed. Thought so, Judy snapped. Lena's eyes welled up. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Because for the first time, the courtroom was beginning to understand. This wasn't a case about custody. This was a trial of conscience. Whitmore adjusted his cufflinks. His voice steadied, rehearsed, calculated. Your Honor, I understand how this looks, but I didn't come here to be judged for the past. I'm here because I believe this child, my son, deserves a better future. Judge Judy gave nothing away. It continued. I own multiple properties. I can provide the best schools, full-time care, medical access, a backyard, and a trust fund. Miss Brooks, admirable as her efforts may be, cannot offer those things. He turned to Lena. This is not about punishment. It's about opportunity. Lena's jaw tensed. Her fingers dug into the table. Judge Judy turned to her. Miss Brooks, what is your current living situation? I rent a 2-bedroom apartment. I work 2 jobs. I have no car, but I make it work. Whitmore's lawyer interjected. Your Honor, she's raising a white child in a predominantly black, low-income neighborhood. It's sociologically unfit. Gasps. Judy held up a hand. I'll decide what's unfit. She turned to Lena. Tell me about the birth. Lena took a shaky breath. I gave birth in a community clinic. Alone. I bled out. No one called. No one came. They said I was lucky to survive. Her eyes locked on Whitmore. I left a voicemail. Just one. He never answered. Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. Is that true, Mr. Whitmore? He shifted in his seat. I don't recall receiving any message. Judy stared. You're a billionaire, and you're telling me a voicemail slipped through the cracks. His lawyer leaned in. Your Honor, again, we are here to evaluate the child's best interest, not punish Mr. Whitmore for missteps. Lena stood. No, let's talk about best interests. She reached into her bag and pulled out a stack of medical bills. Best interest is when I pawned my wedding ring from my dead mother to buy antibiotics when Malik had strep. Another stack. Best interest is when I walked him to school for 4 miles in the rain because the bus system cut our line. Tears now, but she didn't stop. Best interest is every time he asked, "Why don't I have a daddy?" And I said, "Because your daddy isn't ready yet." Judge Judy folded her arms. Whitmore looked uncomfortable now. His face tightened. This is emotional appeal, Your Honor. It doesn't change the facts. Judy nodded. You're right. Let's talk facts. She turned to Lena. How long have you been raising the child alone? 5 years and 4 months. Any state support? Number, I didn't want to enter the system. I worked. Has Mr. Whitmore sent any financial support? Not a dime. Judge Judy clicked her pen once. Then again. Mr. Whitmore, why now? He straightened. I saw a picture. A friend showed me. He looked exactly like me. And I felt obligated. Obligated, Judy repeated flatly. You see, Mr. Whitmore, this is where I struggle. You weren't moved by love, or concern, or guilt. You were moved by resemblance. He tried to interrupt. She raised her hand. Let me finish. Miss Brooks may not have a trust fund, but she's got receipts. Receipts written in sweat and survival and sacrifice. The courtroom was silent again. Judy pointed at Malik. And that boy, he doesn't care about zip codes. He cares about bedtime stories, bandaged knees, mango toast, and dinosaur toys. Lena finally sat. Her hands still shook, but her back, straight as ever. The battle had only begun. Judge Judy leaned back in her chair. She wasn't impressed. She'd seen rich men with crafted stories before. Now she was about to tear this one apart. Mr. Whitmore, she began. You said you discovered the child only recently. Yes, Your Honor. A mutual acquaintance saw him notice the resemblance and brought it to my attention. She raised a paper. Then why do I have here an email dated 2 years ago from one of your assistants, referencing a child support buyout clause and asking if you wanted it formalized? Silence. Whitmore blinked. I don't recall that. Judy turned to the camera. Oh, he doesn't recall. That's becoming a theme. The courtroom chuckled nervously. Judge Judy wasn't smiling. You're telling me your team knew your accountant, knew your assistant drafted clauses, but you had no idea? His lawyer stood. Your Honor, we object to the implication of deception. Sit down, Judy snapped. I wasn't finished. She turned back to Whitmore. Let's try something simpler. When Lena left your home pregnant, did you try to contact her? Number. Did you file any police report about the disappearance of a woman who worked under your roof and carried your child? Number. Did you tell your wife? He shifted. Number. Judge Judy's tone dropped. Why not? A beat. I was trying to protect my family. And now you want to protect it. By stealing a child from the woman you paid to eliminate him. No one breathed. Judy stood from her chair. You see, I don't like liars. I don't like cowards. And I really don't like men who confuse wealth with worth. Lena sat motionless, eyes locked on the bench. Judy turned to her. You worked in this man's house. Yes. He was your employer. Yes. Did you ever invite him into your bedroom? Number. Did he ask? Tears welled. He didn't ask. That was all she said. That was all she needed to say. Judge Judy faced Whitmore again. Mr. Whitmore, your story has holes wide enough to drive a trust fund through, and your face is getting redder by the second. He muttered. This is a witch hunt. Judy smirked. No, Mr. Whitmore. This is accountability. Something your money never had to face until today. And with that, she slammed her hand flat on the bench. We continue. And trust me, it only gets harder from here. The courtroom hadn't heard her voice in 20 minutes. But when Lena stood, she didn't shake. She didn't need anyone to speak for her now. She cleared her throat. May I address the court? Judge Judy nodded. Proceed. Lena walked to the center. Not the witness stand. Not behind the defense. She stood like a woman who was tired of survival and ready for battle. I was 22. I had never been on a plane. Never left my state. And I got hired to clean Mr. Whitmore's house. She looked right at him. I called him sir. I folded his suits. I ironed his wife's blouses. I scrubbed floors while his children spilled juice behind me. She turned to Judge Judy. One night after his wife flew out for a conference, he came into the laundry room. I thought he needed towels. The room went cold. Her voice didn't rise. But he didn't need towels. He needed to feel powerful. Whitmore's attorney rose. Objection. These are unfounded allegations. Sit down, Judge, Judy said flatly. Lena took out her phone. I recorded one voicemail. Just one. From the day after I told him I was pregnant. She pressed play. His voice crackled through the speaker. I told you to take care of it. You keeping this will ruin everything. Don't contact me again. Silence. Not even the AC dared hum. Judge Judy gestuurd. Play it again. She did. Same voice. Same words. Same indictment. Judy turned to Whitmore. You said you didn't recall. That's you, isn't it? He sank in his chair. I was under stress. Lena continued. I took a bus to Mississippi. I lived in a shelter. I gave birth in a room with flickering lights and a nurse who held my hand when I screamed for my mother who'd already passed. She turned to Malik in the front row. I named him after her. I named him Malik because it means king. Because I knew no man would protect him but me. Judy watched without blinking. Lena's voice grew stronger. Do I have wealth number? Do I have land or stocks or lawyer's number? But I have something he doesn't. I showed up. She took one final step. I fed him with calloused hands. I taught him how to read. I gave him a home even when it was just a blanket on a church pew. She looked at Whitmore. And now that the child's alive, healthy and breathing, he wants him like some trophy to dust off and hide in a mansion. She turned to Judge Judy. I may not look like the kind of mother he respects, but I am the only one Malik has ever known. Judge Judy didn't speak. Not yet. Because the courtroom wasn't done absorbing what they just heard. Lena walked back to her seat. Not defeated. Not tired. Ready. And Judge Judy, she just whispered, this is far from over. Judge Judy sat perfectly still. Then she turned to her bailiff. Bring the child forward. Malik stood slowly. He was small for his age. Pale skin. Soft curls. His dinosaur clutched in one hand. He climbed into the witness seat with childlike awkwardness. Judy softened her tone. Hi, Malik. I'm Judge Judy. You know why you're here today? He nodded. To talk about who I live with. She smiled. That's right. Can I ask you a few questions? Okay. She leaned closer. Who do you live with right now? My mommy. He pointed at Lena. She reads me dinosaur books. She makes mango toast. And she always lets me sleep on her arm. The room exhaled. Judy nodded. Do you know the man over there? Malik looked at Whitmore. I've seen his face in pictures. Mommy says he helped make me. Do you ever see him? Never. Do you want to live with him? Malik looked down at his dinosaur. Does he know I hate thunder? Silence. Does he know I can't sleep without a light on? He looked up. Because Mommy knows. Judge Judy blinked twice. She cleared her throat. Thank you, Malik. You can go sit with your mom now. He hopped down, ran back to Lena, climbed onto her lap. Whitmore's face twisted. His lawyer tried to recover. Your Honor, children often form attachments, but they also adapt. A more stable environment would. Judy cut in. Do you hear yourself? She stood. You think a stable zip code replaces knowing a child's favorite cereal? She pointed to Whitmore. He helped create this boy, then buried the truth for 5 years. Now he wants to purchase legitimacy with affidavits and square footage. She pointed to Lena. She had nothing, but she built a childhood from scratch. Out of love, fear, and mango toast. She let that sit. For all your paperwork, Mr. Whitmore, that boy just told us what matters. And it wasn't trust funds. The room broke into murmurs, but Judge Judy was already writing. And Whitmore, for the first time, looked unsure. Whitmore shifted in his seat. His smile was gone. His lawyer whispered something. Judge Judy leaned in, her voice sharp as a scalpel. Mr. Whitmore, let me ask you one more time. Why now? He adjusted his tie. I told you. I saw a photo. I realized I had a responsibility. Number. Judge Judy snapped. Try again. Silence. She lifted a folder. This was submitted anonymously yesterday. It's a series of text messages between you and your business partner, dated 2 weeks before this petition was filed. She read aloud. If this gets out, I'm finished. My wife can never know. I'll claim custody, clean it up legally. Gasps. Lena froze. Whitmore's lawyer stood. Objection. That's hearsay, Your Honor. Judy glared. Sit down. She turned to Whitmore. You weren't here for love or guilt. You were here for control. You wanted to bury your mistake under legal paperwork before the tabloids found it. He didn't respond. Judy walked around her bench. You kept this child hidden for 5 years. Paid silence. Avoided scandal. And now that the truth is bubbling suddenly, you want custody. She shook the folder. You used a child as a damage control strategy. She looked at Lena. She never had a strategy. She only had survival. Judy turned to the gallery. Let it be clear, this is not a custody petition. This is a PR extraction plan. Whitmore opened his mouth, but there was nothing left to say. And now, for the first time, the court saw not a father fighting for his son, but a man trying to erase his shame. Judge Judy stood. Her hand rested lightly on the bench. No papers. No files. Just presence. This court has seen many custody battles. Her voice echoed. Some are about love. Others are about hate. But this? She looked straight at Whitmore. This was about ownership. He looked away. She turned to Lena. And you, Miss Brooks, never owned anything. Not the house you cleaned, not the paycheck you earned, not even the name on your child's birth certificate. But what you did own was the pain, the fear, the responsibility. She looked at Malik. And the boy? She stepped forward. You fed him without knowing where the next meal would come from. You tucked him in while hearing sirens outside your window. You didn't have a support system. You were the system. She took a breath. Meanwhile, Mr. Whitmore paid for silence, bought time, and showed up only when scandal knocked louder than conscience. The courtroom was holding its breath. I want every man watching this to understand something. Being a father doesn't start when a child looks like you. It starts when that child needs you. She pointed to Lena. She was there. She pointed to Whitmore. You weren't. She raised her gavel. This court does not award children to people who view them as liabilities. It awards them to people who prove day after day that they are irreplaceable. The gavel slammed. Full legal and physical custody awarded to Miss Lena Brooks. The courtroom erupted. Some clapped. Others cried. Whitmore stood frozen. For once, not a word to say. Lena. She buried her face in Malik's curls. He whispered, "We won." She nodded. "No, baby. You won." Outside the courthouse, cameras flashed. Lena stepped onto the steps with Malik in her arms. Reporters shouted, "Lena, did you expect to win? What will you tell him when he grows up?" She didn't answer. She didn't need to, because the entire country had watched what she did when the odds were impossible, and how she did it without rage, without revenge, just resolve. That night, the clip of Judge Judy's ruling went viral. Being a father doesn't start when a child looks like you. It echoed across TikTok. Headline CNN. Became sermon material in churches from Harlem to Houston. Twitter flooded with, "Mothers like Lena. Judge Judy was justice. Not blood but love." Whitmore. His company issued a bland statement. His face disappeared from campaign fundraisers. His wife filed for divorce. Silence never saved anyone. But Lena. She was invited to speak on The View, nominated for a humanitarian award. Schools asked her to visit. Students called her brave. Professors called her testimony pure constitutional clarity through the lens of motherhood. But the real award was Malik. That night, in their small 2-bedroom apartment, he crawled into bed beside her. "Do I still look like him?" he asked. She kissed his forehead. "You look like someone who was chosen, not abandoned." And with that, the lights went off. A small home. A small victory. But a justice so loud, America had no choice but to listen.